And I already said it, so I'm going to pick you, Jesse. Behave yourself. Okay, there you go. I picked on you. All right. And we are live on LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube. And here we are. Everybody wave hello. Wave hello, wave hello. There we go. Okay, let's
All
have
right.
the feed. Thank you,
Sending
Jordan.
the feed. Have a great show today.
Thank you.
Where does yesterday's future, which is already here, meet today's future, which is about to happen, and tomorrow's future, which could be just minutes away? Welcome to Technology Revolution, the future of now, where host Bonnie D. Graham asks savvy futurists for their predictions about the tech-driven trends that are shaping our future right now. Here's your host, who will take us into the future of now, Bonnie D. Graham.
Thank you to the wonderful voice who introduces me, Bonnie D. in the house. Yes, I'm just using my middle initial. There we go. Happy to be here. This is a continuing subset of topics I'm covering on Technology Revolution, talking about the future of something and AI, artificial intelligence. AI is in the news every day. A lot of people are scared. A lot of people say, what is that? A lot of people think doom and gloom. This is not a show about the doom and gloom. We're looking at it's here to stay. We're looking at the opportunities, at the possibilities, at the benefits in a different industry, a different career, a different soft skill, a different creative genre every single week. And today we're going to be approaching the future of professional services. It's a whole range of services. And then we have representation from a few of those and artificial intelligence. And I want to do a shout out to one of my lovely guests. Lenore Horton is here, and Lenore helped put this panel together. So if you don't have a good time, the rest of you can blame Lenore. Anyway, we are starting the show now. And everybody, I want you to know we are live streaming on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube, and we are also heard live on Voice America Business Channel, where I've been broadcasting since, 2011. What can I say? I'm going to introduce my guests with a little poem. Now, Lenore, I don't know if last time you were on the show, I was doing my poem, but I know that Jesse and Manny and Krystal are all new, so it's going to be a revelation to them. I asked ChatGPT, yes, I'm still using 3.5, the free version, not 4 for Omni yet. I asked it to write a little opening poem, and I gave it the full bio. Yours, Manny, yours, Jesse, yours, Krystal, yours, Lenore. Full bio, and I put it all into one big, oh my goodness gracious, 1,000 characters for each of you. And it wrote back the poem. And then I, the human, edited the poem and made it right. So I have a little quiz for all of you after I read it. When I say your name, just wave wildly at the audience so they know who you are. I know they can read your name on the screen, but humor me. In the realm of AI, where innovation takes flight, Bonnie D on her Scarlett mic hosts Technology Revolution in her live streaming light. Exploring AI and the professional services firms, predictions from 4 futurists that Nexus confirms. Lenore Horton, legal luminary with a voice so clear, guiding founder-led companies, her expertise premier. Ranked a top attorney, her accolades shine bright, a strategic force for scaling businesses. That's Lenore Horton's might. I hope you like that, Lenore. Was that good? I rent these poems out if you want to use them for your own promotion.
I love it. Yes.
We can negotiate later. Jesse Frye is with us, Coast Guard veteran. Thank you for your service in marketing sage. Harnesses his MBA to script success on every page. As a legal business coach and fractional CMO, he empowers solo firms to reach unprecedented flow. Did you like that, Jesse?
I like that. That's pretty good.
Pretty good. I'll take that. And then we have Manny. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name, Manny Cosme, finance virtuoso with a heart of gold, crafts tailored accounting solutions with insights so bold. A champion for small business. He's an entrepreneur too, founded CFO Services Group to show what he can do. Manny, what'd you think?
I love it.
Okay, good.
I love it. I'm keeping it.
Good. Okay. Well,
I do have a heart of gold. You're right.
We'll talk. I know you do. Krystal Speed. I want to talk to you about your name. I think your name is fabulous. Krystal Speed, champion of work-class striving, CEO of Your HR Strategist to keep employees thriving. Her HR tips, newsletters on a LinkedIn page, people operations skills shining on Krystal's stage. Do you like that, Krystal?
I do.
That's good. So buckle up, dear listeners, for a journey sublime as we explore the future where AI rhymes prime. The future of professional services and AI we will probe with insights aplenty for you, our audience around the globe. What do we think? Pretty cool?
I love it. I don't think I was here when you started doing the poems.
I don't think so either. And now here's the quiz for all of you. And I want you to hold up the number of fingers. The answer will be in minutes. How many minutes do you think it took ChatGPT to give me the core of that poem? Once I put in one swoop all of your bios and the name of my show and me, it knows me and the Scarlett mic and all that, and the title of the episode. So put up, how many minutes do you think it took ChatGPT to get back to me? You can go from 0 to 5. Okay. All right, we got 2 zeros, we got 2 ones. Okay, the ones with the 1, put your hands down. The two ladies with the 0. How many seconds do you think it took? Krystal and Lenore, put your fingers up. How many seconds?
Let's say 10.
Krystal?
I was going to use double digits. So
Okay,
like
I'm going to shock you all. It takes less than 2.25 seconds for
Oh
ChatGPT to come back with the entire poem. And then I go ahead and I do the editing. I go back to your bios. I make sure it hit all the key points, and I like the rhymes if I don't like the rhymes. And sometimes I go back and say, could you please give me a better rhyme for Lenore's thing? And it'll go back and I'll say, no, I want it. So I'll do it myself. Just want you to know 2.2 seconds. How much time does that take out of your day? Now let's do some real bios. I'm so happy to have all of you here. I'm going to go around the table, and our speaker order is just what I did in my poem. So it is Lenore and Jesse and Manny and Krystal. Would you please each take 3 minutes approximately to give us who you are, not just what your practice is and your skills, but how did you get into the field you are in, and a little tiny bit about your thoughts on AI and what you do professionally. So Lenore, you're up. Refresh us. It's been a while. Welcome back. Go ahead, Lenore Horton.
Hi, yes, absolutely. I'm Lenore Horton. I am the owner and CEO of 2 companies. One is a law firm, Horton Legal Strategies. At that company, we serve as outside general counsel to upwardly mobile small businesses and to middle market companies. We also serve as special counsel and corporate counsel to middle market companies. Our goal is essentially to help small businesses and middle market companies manage their legal matters better and use it in a way that really pushes them forward on their business objectives instead of seeing it purely as a cost center. I'm also the CEO and owner of the Legal Training Studio, which is not a law firm. Instead, our goal is we're pretty much agnostic as to who you use as your lawyer. And our goal is really to help founders and small business owners have a better relationship with the legal matters in their business and with the lawyers that they choose to work with. So that's more of an educational and training studio for people who join the Legal Training Studio. And there's a story about how I got here. It all started with an ER visit back when I was a little kid and argued with the doctors about why I did not need stitches. And my father proclaimed she will be either a politician or a lawyer. I didn't know what the word politician meant way back then, but I had a fair idea of what lawyer meant because he watched Law and Order almost every single night. So the stage was set for me to become a lawyer. I really love what I do. I love helping businesses thrive. This is how people fulfill their passions and fund the dreams of their children and retire into peace and relaxation and enjoy those decades at the end of their lives. So making that a success, in bringing more value to the world, I love what I do.
Thank you, Lenore. That's one of the coolest origin stories I've ever heard. Actually, my daughter has a similar one. She became a doctor, but I'll tell that one off air later. Thank you very much and welcome back. Delighted to have you. Jesse Frye, you're up next. Jesse, you're on full screen speaker view. Regale us. Who are you?
Great. It's hard to follow Lenore. So Jesse Frye, I live in Asheville, North Carolina, originally from the Pittsburgh, PA part of the world. And I am a business coach for lawyers as well as a fractional CMO. And I'm fortunate to actually have worked with Lenore for the last several years as one of her advisors at Law Firm Mentor. I'm also the founder of Scale Legal, which we help law firms simplify marketing strategies and implement those strategies in a more profitable way. My background is a little different. I actually, I've only been coaching and working with law firms for the last 3 years. It was in 2020, mid-pandemic, I got burnt out. Didn't realize I got burnt out until I went backpacking for 2 weeks and came back, and I still felt the same way as I left. And I made a career change and quit my 9 to 5 job running marketing for a global education company that focuses on emerging technologies, and started coaching. And I fell into coaching with Law Firm Mentor, which focuses on coaching law firms. And that's where I've been for the last 3 years. But I also have gone out on my own because I realized not only do I love coaching, but I also like being an entrepreneur and have a lot of ideas. So I've worked with over 100 different businesses in high tech, legal, as well as in the educational sector, and from multiple countries, from Tunisia to India, Canada, the United States, Australia. So I'm pretty lucky to have worked with people from around the world.
I don't think you're lucky. I think you're smart. I don't think luck had anything to do. How do you find a client in Tunisia, Jesse?
They tend to find me through referrals. I found like 5 marketing agencies in Germany, and it was through one company that found me on LinkedIn. And then they just referred me to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. So it's all mostly been through referral business.
Very well done. And quick, can we have a definition of a fractional CMO? I think you said. What is that?
Yeah, so a lot of small and medium-sized firms don't have the economy of scale initially when it comes to having a full-time, chief marketing officer in their firm. So what we do is we come in and actually advise and mentor and coach them on marketing strategies, but also helping lift and take a lot of the work off of the founder's plate, because that's where they tend to get stuck in. And then that means it lacks consistency. So we help implement consistency, but also managing the team and the marketing efforts, whether it's an agency or internal resources.
Thank you. You put that one long sentence together very beautifully. I appreciate that.
Thank
you, Jesse. It's delightful to have you, and
Thank you.
very interesting. I just want to tell our audience, this show is not about the future of law and AI. It's professional services. Next week, I'm doing legal practices and law, and AI. So this is a little bit different. Manny, you're up next. Manny, please introduce yourself and welcome.
Hi, well, I'm Manny Cosme. I run a company called CFO Services Group. We are a management accounting firm, which means that we specialize in providing the outsourced accounting department. That's the bookkeeping, the payroll, invoicing, all that. And also the fractional CFO work for small businesses and nonprofits. So similar to a fractional CMO, we do the fractional CFO work for small businesses and growing nonprofits that really can't afford to pay those, really high salaries, 6-figure salaries for someone in-house. Really, you just need someone to kind of come in part-time, check on things, make sure things are working right, and help you build strategy for how to grow your business. I'm super excited for this topic, by the way. AI is everywhere right now. It is the topic. I probably get hit up with like 10 different webinars a day on this subject. So I'm super excited to dive into this. But a little bit about me. As I said, I live in Washington, D.C., right downtown with my husband and my dog. And just enjoy living in the city. Kind of, I enjoy yoga. I meditate. Going to the beach this weekend. Super excited for that. And I started the company in 2012, and we are growing strong. Have clients across the country, and excited to be here.
And now Jesse's clients in Tunisia will know about you too. There you go. Thank you, Manny. Lovely to have you here. And Krystal Speed, I want to know, is that a stage name? Come on, tell us the truth.
No, this is my real name. My parents, I have 2 other sisters. We're all K's. So I'm the last one. And so they came up with Krystal with a K. So, but yes.
Very nice. You're up. Please introduce. And by the way, I think your glasses are phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
I'm allowed to say it. It's my show. Go ahead.
Thank you. And if you see me like anywhere online, usually the glasses is what kind of lets you know it's Krystal who's talking. So my name is Krystal Speed. I am based in Tulsa, Oklahoma, but spent 26 years in the DC area. I am the CEO of your HR Strategist. So just rounding out your fractional C-suite here. So
Please.
we do fractional HR services for small businesses and startups, really helping them at a growth inflection point and thinking about how to build and grow inclusive teams and workplace cultures where their people can thrive. I really do believe that work should be fun and that you should be doing stuff that you're passionate about. And guess what? You can actually thrive at work. And so my team and I, we really support businesses in thinking about people strategy, culture, and the systems that help support a workplace where everyone from the CEO down can really thrive in what they do and make difference and impact in the communities that they serve. I started my professional career as a teacher, and I thought I was going to be in the classroom my whole life, elementary school. And then 5 years into it, I had a really hard year. I said, I'm going to take the summer off. And my dad, who is an entrepreneur, he invited me to join his IT defense contract company and help them build out their HR. And I said, Dad, I don't know a single thing about HR. He's like, but you do. And he was actually right. And I spent 5 great years working with my dad and my sisters building our family business. We had 100 employees across various locations, and that's where I really got my start in HR. And so now my dad really is like my business mentor whenever I'm thinking about what should I do in my business next. Is really helpful to be able to go to him as well as my sisters. Unfortunately, my mom passed away before I was able to start working in the business, but she and my dad created this business that lasted for 25 years that was able to employ hundreds of people and really make impact in the world. And so I feel like I'm carrying on that legacy just with an HR bent to it. So yeah, and then the last thing I'll say is I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Best decision I ever made. People might think like, what's in Oklahoma? That's what I thought when I moved here, but it's a lot of fun. And so if anyone ever wants to talk about Tulsa and what's happening here, I will help facilitate that conversation. A lot of great things are happening here in tech and entrepreneurship.
You're the fractional mayor of Tulsa for us online. I just dubbed you that in addition to futurist. I am so impressed with your backgrounds and your stories. Krystal, that's some veer from teaching in kindergarten, you said, at elementary school, and then going across to your family business and then your own company and fractional HR, and you know nothing about. Isn't that interesting? Sometimes people find that, I'm going to use the word nugget in us and say, you can do that, even though I didn't know anything about banking and somebody hired me to be a marketing person, I was called a systems liaison for what was then a correspondent bank. We serviced all the savings banks of New York State. And I went in as a computer programmer and they said to me, what do you know about banking? And I said, I have a checkbook. And they said, that's enough. And I ended up creating writing a business plan, creating a whole branch of it, being the contract programmer, becoming the marketing director of the company, writing newsletters, doing annual reports. And it was just because somebody said to me, you know enough. Isn't that interesting? Just those, sometimes somebody finds something about us. Lenore, we shouldn't name this the future of professional services and AI. I want to retitle this episode The Future of Fractional C-Suite Professionals and AI, because I think that's where we've headed now that I've gotten to know all of you. This is wonderful. Very excited to have you all here. Okay, now, and you're all still smiling. This is a good thing. Krystal, I want to borrow those glasses, but we need them in red for me. You'll tell me where you got them. Okay, now, this is a part of the show I've asked you each to send me a fictional quote from a character in a movie or a TV show or a song. And let's take about 2 minutes because we have so many predictions to cover, but relate these to your thoughts on AI for what you do. And Lenore Horton, you have picked a 4-word quote. I love the short ones. This is from Jerry Maguire, played by, of course, the iconic Tom Cruise, speaking to Arizona Cardinals wide receiver Rod Tidwell, played by the lovely Cuba Gooding Jr. I think I pronounced that right. Jerry Maguire, 1996, sports comedy drama film. A comedy drama is hyphenated. No other types of genres for movies are hyphenated. You can have a space opera, documentary, historical, romance, and they don't put hyphens. But comedy drama, I've always noticed that. Anyway, Tom Cruise, sports agent Jerry Maguire, and a stellar cast. The film was inspired by a 28-page 1991 memo written at Disney by Jeffrey Katzenberg. I didn't know that. It was the ninth highest grossing film of 1996. Cuba won the Academy Award and SAG for Best Supporting Actor. Cruz won the Golden Globe for Best Actor. There we go. Here's the quote. Everybody, fasten your seatbelts. Help me help you. Oh, Lenore, I haven't heard this one on any of my shows. How did you find it? What does this have to do with our topic today? Go ahead, Lenore, 2 minutes.
So I believe the quote is actually, help me help you. You've got to like do the emphasis that his character does in the movie. And I think that frustration is actually a key part of the quote. I'll be honest with you, I found it because I asked ChatGPT to give me a bunch of quotes. And then I also asked Claude to give me a bunch of quotes. And I went through and I said, what's the one I really like here? That's a movie I actually watched. So I like this one because that frustration that comes through is I feel like sometimes the technology speaking back to us, it's so ready, it's so available, it's right there. And sometimes there's this effort to pull it out of users, and in particular, forget users, professionals, right? To pull it out of professionals to take advantage of it. It really is there to be helpful. It's not like it's a technology that has a by its nature, some negative animus about it, right? So it really is available and there to use, but it's almost like it's having to encourage professionals to use it. But I also get it from the professional side, because is this agent really out for my best interest? Is ChatGPT or any of the other technologies out there for their best interest? So I understand the cautionary component and why professionals, especially if you're dealing with licensed professionals or those where you have additional degrees and ethics codes around it, I get why there's a little bit of reluctance. But I honestly feel, and you already know this, that where there's a few obstacles or concerns, there's always opportunity, right? There's always a way for you to move forward, and that's what we have to look at.
Well put. Thank you very much. Good quote. I'm sorry I didn't do the inflection. I watched the clip, but I forgot. Help me, help you. Okay, we'll get there. Thank you, Lenore. Let's go to Jesse. Jesse has picked a quote from a song by the American pop rock band Imagine Dragons back in 2017. The song is Believe, Believer, Believe. It was released in February 1st, 2017 as the lead single from their third album, Evolve, and it was number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was the band's third top 10 single after Radioactive and Demons. They like their songs to have one-word titles, don't they, Jesse? It was the top 10 in Australia, Canada, Czech Republic, France, Italy, Poland, Portugal, and Switzerland. It was used in the season 1 finale of CW's Riverdale and played in ads for the Nintendo Switch Super Bowl LI advertisement. There we go. Here's the quote Jesse picked. I'm the one at the sail. I'm the master of my sea. Oh, Jesse, talk to us.
Yeah, so I when you asked me to send you a couple quotes, I had kind of a hard time thinking through it because I don't watch a lot of television, but I listen to a lot of music. And when I made my shift in 2020, obviously kind of maybe it was, some people might call it a midlife crisis, right? It was trying to figure out what the next part of my journey looked like. That I'm the one at the sail, I'm the master of the sea, to me meant that I'm the one that gets to control this destiny. I'm the one that gets to make the decision in the direction that I go on the sea. Obviously, being a Coast Guard mariner back in the day, I have a little bit of a connection to the ocean. But I think when it comes to AI, many people are stuck. I think you gave us a quote before we actually went live about 17%. I forget the exact quote that you said, but 17% of people are actually positive about the direction of AI.
Yes.
And I think I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but I think we have the ability to control our direction, and we have to be able to look at how AI is going to impact our individual roles in organizations, whether it's an entrepreneur or an individual contributor within an organization, and be able to actually put the sail up and actually control the direction the way that we want to. Where, in my opinion, historically, we haven't always had that ability as entrepreneurs. As entrepreneurs, we always have that ability, but as entrepreneurs, We don't always have the ability to control the sale, but I think with technology, I'm even seeing my wife, she's a social worker, she's using ChatGPT to really streamline how she actually gets her work done. And people are like blown away with like, oh my goodness, you're getting so much more work done than the rest of us. And the quality of the work is better than the work that's actually was being done beforehand. So I think that's where the master of RC is so important when it comes to AI.
Very interesting point that we are still in control of when and how and why we use it and for what we use it. Very, very interesting. I choose to use ChatGPT for the opening poems of these shows, but I also belong to a Writer's Digest poetry group. And we get a prompt every Wednesday. And I wrote 6 poems this morning before I started this show, and I posted all 6. We had a PAD challenge, poem a day, during the months of April and the months of November. And I was one of about 50 poets who posted between 3 and 10 poems a day. It gets to be, but never, ever, ever did I go near AI for those poems. They were all from the heart, all from the soul. That's what real poetry is. This stuff I use on the show is just for fun. Thank you, Jesse. Let's go to Manny. And Manny has picked a quote, one of the classics, one of the iconics, Yoda, voiced by Frank Oz. And by the way, Monday was Speak Like Yoda Day, but I didn't even want to try. Of course, this is The Empire Strikes Back, aka Star Wars Episode V5, directed by Irvin Kershner and screenplay by Lee Brackett and Lawrence Kasdan, based on a story by the wonderful George Lucas. There we go. Sequel to Star Wars 1977. It's the second film in the Star Wars film series and the 5th chronological chapter of the Skywalker saga. Here we go. Do or do not. I can't do Yoda. There is no try. Go ahead, Manny, rescue me. Can you do Yoda?
I was gonna say, are you gonna do the Yoda voice? No.
Do or do not. There is no try. Was that better? I don't know. Didn't rehearse it. Don't make me do this. Manny, go. Rescue me.
I'm sure there's some sort of AI that can mimic that voice.
Probably. Go ahead. I don't do voices.
Yeah, no, this is so thanks. This is one of my favorite quotes of all time. I use it all the time. It's like on my Facebook page. Do or do not. And I think do or do not, there is no try. I think that just applies to blanket everything in life. Is like, there's this idea, and especially with AI, but there's this idea like, if you're going to try something, there's always kind of an out, right? There's always like, I'm just dipping my toe in this and maybe I'm going to do it. Maybe I'm not, I don't know, and you kind of go this back and forth, but it's no, you have to commit. If you want change in your life, if you want something to change and you want to move forward into the future, you have to commit, right? And so that's why I love that quote, because that really just encapsulates that. That's when Yoda is talking to Luke Skywalker and he says that, because the whole premise of that was that Luke was like, I don't know, I want to use the Force and I don't know if I can do it. And Yoda's like, no, you don't try. You either do it or you don't. You either commit or you don't, right? And so you can, again, apply that to so many things in your life, especially business. But particularly since we're talking about AI, and technology in the future, there is this fear of what is this? And I don't know what this is. And maybe I want to try it and maybe I don't. But the reality is that life is moving forward. Technology is moving forward. And if we don't move along with it, it will leave us behind. So it's not that I want to try to use technology. It's that I will use technology. I will sit down. I will work through my fears and my worries and my anxiety around it and the work that I need to do to actually dive into this. I'm going to jump headfirst into the pool and I'm going to learn this so that I can move forward and I can help people more with this. So I'm not trying it, I'm doing it. Or I'm going to not, and I'm just going to opt out. But there's no in between.
Binary math. The light is either on or off. Don't talk to me about dimmer switches. The light is either on or off. The switch is either up or down. I'm an early woman in tech. Lenore may remember this. I was coding in COBOL on a Xerox Sigma 6 CP5 before most of you were born. And I have great respect for doing. It wasn't, I'll try to write the program, is I'm going to code 2,000 lines over the weekend. I'm going to keep punching on Monday, and that damn thing's going to be up and running in production by 1 o'clock Monday afternoon. There was no trying, Manny. We just did what we had to do. So thank you very much. I always remember my on-off switch. Thank you, Krystal. Speed. Let's go to your quote. This is from Michael Scott, played by Steve Carell, probably one of the most quoted characters of one of the most quoted shows ever on TV. Believe me, I deal with quotes about 500 quotes a year from my guests, and I know. Michael Scott, The Office, American mockumentary sitcom TV series, NBC 2005 to 2013. They only had 201 episodes over only 9 seasons, based on a BBC series created by and starring the wonderful Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant, adapted for American TV by Greg Daniels, who was a veteran writer for SNL. I didn't know that, and The Simpsons. Here we go. So let me read the quote, and Krystal will expand it for us. I knew exactly what to do, but in a much more real sense, I had no idea what to do. Krystal, is this autobiographical? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, no, I do think part of it is like, from the perspective of, being an entrepreneur, but also kind of delving into AI, machine learning, and thinking about how we can put it into our HR business. It's like exciting, but at the same time, it's like once you scratch the surface, realizing you haven't even really scratched the surface. And so for me, I think it's very exciting for me to think about what the possibilities are, but I think for others that can become overwhelming, bring about a little bit of fear or just like intimidation, like I don't even know, like the least bit about what is possible with AI. And so sometimes that is a hindrance or makes us push back a little bit. I use ChatGPT a lot for just kind of getting a head start on some of the things that I need to do. And I have found, again, what a useful tool it can be. But again, I feel like I'm only using like 1% of its capabilities. And with that orientation, whether it's like, ooh, let me jump in more and learn more and see like all of the different ways that it can support me or my clients, is one way to look at it. But at the other way of like, this is just so overwhelming. I don't even know where to start. So I won't. And so that's where that quote came in for me. Like, I think it can take you to 2 different places, but hopefully we can bring you along to that exciting place of, oh yeah, there's a lot to learn, but let's kind of take a growth mindset to be able to learn together and see what's possible and how this can really function within our businesses and overall lives to make things more productive, efficient, and innovative.
You said exciting and growth mindset. How dare you, Krystal? That's what we're here to talk about. That's perfect. Exciting. We are allowed to say that. As I said in the beginning, this is not a doom and gloom diatribe show. We're talking about the possibilities. Now we're going to go into the predictions roundtable. I think we have an inkling of where you're all going to go with this. Lenore, and I'm going to pick one prediction to start from each of you. We'll see how much time we have, and I'm going to put it in the chat for you privately so I don't disturb anybody else. Lenore, I picked a piece. You all sent wonderfully very, very long, very detailed predictions, and I appreciate that. On some shows, my panelists send me one sentence. The next big AI thing is coming. I said, what are you going to talk about? Anyway, I appreciate the detail and the work you all did, and thank you all for the great quotes. So, Lenore, I'm going to read a little bit from prediction 2, and I think this is an interesting setting or a setup for what we're talking about today about AI and professional services firms. So, Lenore says, professionals who leverage AI while also participating in local face-to-face opportunities will have a leg up against those who don't. Professional services are largely viewed as personal services where in-person contact often takes center stage. Lenore, let's talk about this. Is there a balance? So we used to talk about work-life balance. Now we talk about work-life integration. You got work, you got life, but you're doing them all at the same time in the same 24 hours. Lenore, tell us more, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do think that, a lot of times people have this sense that AI is going to keep people where they are now, where there's a lot of remote, a lot of the world is global, everybody's a neighbor, but at the same time, you're more step back because you're not in person. And I think what we're really looking at is the people, the professionals in particular, who are still focusing on that in-person local connection while leveraging AI, they're the ones who are going to have the leg up. And I'm going to give you some examples, a couple of examples of why. I mean, first of all, professional services, typically they're seen as where people like to have that face-to-face. For a lot of attorneys, for example, you have to really be there in person. It's rare where you can do things entirely for some practice areas entirely where you're not in person. Even now, when you think about HR, there are some parts of that onboarding process where it's still very hard not to do it in person. I-9 verification, anybody, right? There's still like a lot of rules around if you're doing it remotely. If you wanted to go and do a manual audit of somebody's bookkeeping, and you've got to be in their office asking about that box under the desk that is not somewhere in cloud file storage, right? So personal, in person and local is still going to be very much a part of professional services. But when we use AI in a way to allow us to have a more impactful presence, I think that's the real win. If you go to speak in person at a networking event, being able to have AI use your recordings in a way so that that message gets amplified easier afterwards, or so that it's more accessible to the people who are there in attendance through live transcription and immediate summaries and keywords. Those are things that make that in-person experience more impactful, both during the experience and afterwards. And that's just one snippet of an example of how that could happen.
Thank you. I don't hear that very often from my panelists, Lenore, about the impact after the fact, after the presentation, after the appearance, being able to take. Now, I do for all of my guests, I will send you all a download link for the Zoom recording and your individual audio tracks and the pictures I've taken, and I'll send you all the live stream links. But that's a very manual thing I'm doing for my guests to say, I value you being here. But to use AI to do that on an automatic basis, that's a nice add-on, isn't it, Lenore? That's something we didn't have that was manual before, and now it's automatic. Thank you very much. Let's move on to Jesse. I've picked a piece of your prediction number 3. You say transition from traditional legal practices to tech-enhanced specializations. And Jesse adds, by the early 2030s, now we are in almost mid-2024, so do the math. 6 years and what? A spit? I don't know, maybe less than that. AI and automation are set to transform traditional legal practice areas such as estate planning, immigration, which are particularly susceptible to these technologies. That's an interesting word, Jesse. We're already seeing this happen. Rocket lawyer, transactional work like business formation and wills, and boundless, which is for immigration. Jesse, take us through a little bit of what this means.
Yeah, I'll try to make it a little bit more broad beyond the legal space. But I think as we think about AI, a lot of us, when we're thinking about AI today, we think about ChatGPT. But the reality is that machine learning has been around for many, many years. I worked for a cloud computing services company many, many years ago. It's probably been 10 years ago. And we were using machine learning to basically map out entire network infrastructures before people started moving workloads into the cloud. And that really took away a lot of businesses, but it actually created more opportunities. And if you're in a business area like immigration, or if you're an accountant or an HR service provider, right, which Manny and Krystal are both in, and Lenore's in the legal side, all of those areas will have some component of their day-to-day work that will be completely automated and created obsolete for the people doing the work, but that actually creates more opportunity for the people doing the work to do higher level thinking. So I think, I'll give an example using, what I wrote was, you have rocket lawyer, and there's a lot of lawyers, when you say rocket lawyer and LegalZoom, they cringe a little. I'm sure Lenore cringes a little bit. But they add value, right? Those services add values to the consumer. And even there's some numbers showing that more and more consumers are actually trying to do their own divorces on their own. So when we think about AI tools and how it enables the consumer to do their job more, do the job of the attorney or of the accountant or of the IT firm, right? Then we as business owners that are actually doing these professional services have to think about how do we add different levels of value to that. So I think it's just a shift. There's going to be a shift away from some of the manual work and some of the more transactional work. But I think we as business owners need to really think about how do we use that AI to add additional value to our buyers, our buyer personas.
Thank you very much. Very, very good point. Well taken. Manny, I've picked prediction 3. This is interesting. I think we're all heading in a similar direction here. Manny says the white collar labor market will shift profoundly as AI is able to take over some of the more task-oriented jobs that professionals do. For example, let's go into the field of CPAs. Professional accountants will no longer need to prepare spreadsheets or tax returns per se. Professionals will need to refocus their skills on more soft skills, such as, oh my, critical thinking. What's that? Are we being taught to do that? I don't know. Communications, customer service, human management. My goodness gracious. Manny, go ahead. This is interesting.
So I think it's actually exactly what Jesse was just saying and Lenore was just saying, that, AI, yes, is able to start taking over a lot of that kind of quote unquote transactional work that we do, which leaves the space for us as professionals to really dive into the human component of what we do. Like, I deal with finances all day, right? There's a lot of emotion around finance for people, right? Especially small business owners who are struggling to make it every day. Who said it was easy running a small business, right? And so, what we have to do as professionals is not just show up and say, oh, here's the spreadsheet, or here are your financial statements, or, here's the thing, but it's helping them understand what this means, translate it to their life, and then helping talk them through what's coming up for them emotionally around this, right? What is it that you really want? How do you feel about this? And really just showing up for our clients day in and day out. And so, with my team, I do a weekly training with them. I train my team. I get them all together once a week, and we do an hour-long training every Tuesday. And interestingly, I don't do a training on how to put together a spreadsheet or how to do a depreciation schedule. I don't do any of that because there's really good stuff out there that teaches people how to do that. I do soft skills training. I teach my team how to respond to a client that's having a challenging time, right? How to answer an email properly, things like that. And those are the soft skills, the essential skills. I think we've renamed them now essential skills for a good reason, that I don't know if AI is ever going to really be able to replace. I don't know if you can code emotion. And that's where I think the professionals are really going, is to how do I emotionally connect with people so that they know, like, and trust me to help guide them through. And then I can just leverage AI to do the work in the background, right? And that's where I think is going. And so what I was saying, my prediction is that I think universities are going to have a profound shift in going away from the how do I do this to how do I relate this to the person, the interpersonal skill.
Relationships. It's still about people, isn't it? People say that AI isn't sentient, and I know, but I play with it a little bit. I have Alexa. If I talk too fast, she'll answer me in the other room, and I say, Alexa, thank you. You make me happy. And she'll say, thank you. You make me happy too. And I'll ask her to tell me a joke and I'll laugh. I'll say, you're funny. And she'll say, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy my sense of humor. So talk about relationships. Don't tell anybody. This is just among the 5 of us, of course. But also with ChatGPT, I have an ongoing, not a battle, but a discussion with my friend. I call him the chief geek, Dan Geller. If you don't know him on LinkedIn, go find him. He's a very interesting gentleman, and he posts information about AI almost every day in his post, not just on his site. And he says you don't need to be polite to ChatGPT, and it will be more efficient. So, Krystal, I stopped saying, I thought about it. Am I going to stop saying please and thank you to ChatGPT? Would you please write me a monologue? Would you please help me with a poem? Would you please thank you very much? That was great. And it says, oh, I'm glad we have a whole dialogue going on here. And I thought about it, and I said, I'm a nice girl from New York, and we were taught to be polite. And I don't know what they do in Tulsa, but we say please and thank you. And that's just the way it is. That's built into my essential skills, Manny. And I didn't cut those out. And ChatGPT got even faster, even though I didn't. It went from 2.5 seconds to 2.25 seconds. I know the difference. So there. Thank you very much, Manny. I can't talk about soft skills anymore. We'll say essential skills. That's great. Krystal, I'm looking at your prediction number 1. This is a little bit different than what we've been talking about. That's why I picked it. Krystal talks about empowering small businesses. She says, as an HR professional, I predict AI tools and platforms will democratize access to advanced technologies, enabling small businesses to compete more effectively with large corporations, from predictive analysis, analytics for market trends to personalized customer service through chatbots. It will help businesses thrive. Oh my goodness. Krystal, enlighten us. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so I'll definitely take the lens from what I do day to day. And currently, like there, from an HR standpoint, there are a lot of HR resources and tools out there, but they're not necessarily catering to the small businesses. And I think that we'll see more that really take into the context of what the kind of people needs are for small businesses and how to really support them in being able to build, sustain, and scale well. And in a way that kind of cuts out some of the pain points associated with it. And some of the larger HR systems that exist now, I mean, that we definitely see how technology is supporting the automation of some of those kind of routine administrative types of things so that whoever is in charge of HR, whether you have an HR professional or someone on your leadership team, has those responsibilities where they're able to kind of get out of the routine administrative tasks and start thinking more holistically about people planning. What does it look like to plan well for the next 2 to 3 to 5 years, and being able to use some of the analytics to really help support decision making. Right now, or in the past, I would say, because so much was taken into like onboarding and processing, the paperwork, the filing, when we're able to take those things and utilize automation, it really frees people up to be able to make some business decisions and utilizing the information that is in the systems to make better decisions for their businesses and for their people. So I'm really excited about the possibility of equipping smaller businesses that are at the earlier stages of their growth and their maturity to really have tools and resources and I would say even methodologies that larger corporations have, being able to fold that into their business so that they're able to grow and scale well.
Thank you very much. And to add those essential skills that make them unique as a small business, right? When you put that combination, you have a winning hand. Lenore, I'm going to go to another prediction for you. We have time. But before, I found something in the news today that I think will interest all of you. Listen to this. At the International AI Safety Summit, did you even know it existed? Co-hosted, but Jesse knows, by the UK and South Korea, oh my, in Seoul, 16 AI companies, including Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Meta, and OpenAI have agreed to a set of AI safety frameworks called the Frontier AI Safety Commitments. These will outline the thresholds that will establish when risks are deemed intolerable in quotes, and what companies will do to ensure they do not exceed these thresholds. Each has agreed to take accountability and not develop or deploy an AI modeler system if they can't keep the associated risks below the thresholds. Of course, we don't know what the thresholds are yet, but I just wanted to throw that in there in preface to Lenore's next prediction. Lenore says, ethics committees and other regulatory bodies will continue to impose guardrails and guidelines on using AI for licensed professionals. Lenore, why don't you take it from here? Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So we can see examples of this in very specific contexts. We have the New York State Bar Association, which is a voluntary bar. They've issued guidelines on using AI by law firms and attorneys. We have the USPTO issuing guidelines around how AI may be used in different applications before that federal agency. That's a federal agency. We also have the FCC issuing guidelines on permitted use of AI when it comes to robocalling, right? And so what I see from this is it's less about, some people view it as fear, but I see it as that, help me help you, right? This is an opportunity for those who are a little bit reluctant to say, well, what can I rely upon to have an understanding of what I can do and what I can't do? Because to the extent you're talking about what's not allowed, you're talking about what is allowed, right? And so that's guidance. That's guidance for professionals who might be reluctant. That's guidance for professionals who are already in the space. And it gives us an opportunity to really be more in our zone. I think a lot of these guidelines are also speaking to what is the essence of what you're supposed to be doing, right? When the Copyright Office says, well, for example, when the Bar Association say you cannot make up fictional cases, and cite them in a brief by using AI, it's really speaking to the essence of what is it that you're supposed to do as a lawyer. It's not to write a bunch of text and throw in things that look like case citations. There's actually something behind that. What is the essence of what you're doing? And I think all of the panelists talked about this a little bit, where AI democratizes things and makes it more accessible. It's really going to the heart of, for professionals, is the essence of what you're doing filling out a form, or is it deeper than that? And I think it's deeper than that.
It has to be deeper than that. That's why we're talking about, we're still people. I think we're still human. Thank you, Lenore. We're going to see we squeeze in one or two more predictions real fast, as they say in French, Jesse. Vite, vite. Jesse says, transforming legal practice. According to Thomson Reuters, 77% of solo and small law firm practitioners report spending too much time on administrative tasks, a challenge AI is well positioned to address. Jesse, 2 minutes, go.
Yeah, so I think it comes down to the professional service providers and how we actually serve our clients and using technology that actually makes their lives easier. And I think oftentimes we push products and services to our clients and our customers, and they get overwhelmed. And then they actually focus more time on actually trying to run, like do the day-to-day, like admin task and things like that. And we give them even more. So I think if we utilize technology as service providers to actually make our clients' lives easier, not just ours, it's ultimately going to reduce the administrative burden, allowing us to do better work, but also allowing them to do better work. And when our customers and our clients are doing better work, we ultimately have more opportunity as service providers to provide services to them. So I think that's where AI is going to allow us to do bigger and better things. And removing the administrative burden on businesses is one of the ones that I think it's happening now, but it's going to happen even faster over probably the next few years.
Thank you very much. Let's squeeze in one from Manny here. Manny, I combined your predictions 1 and 2 with your permission before the show. Let's see if you can take 1 minute for this. Krystal, I'm not sure. We'll get a wrap up from you. Don't worry about it. Manny says businesses will initially expect AI to provide professional services for them at the caliber of a human being and will look to cut professionals, humans, as a result. However, as time go on, businesses will realize that AI will fail to provide a human perspective that is needed to understand the nuances of business and the roles emotions play. And professionals will gain a resurgence as business owners recognize human interaction. Manny, 1 minute, go. That's all we got.
Same thing. We see a common theme. It's just the emotions. So, small businesses always looking to cut, big businesses always looking to cut. So, I'll get rid of my accountant. I'll get rid of my attorney. I don't need my marketing person. ChatGPT can write all my marketing content for me without realizing that, yeah, it can do it. But how do you relate it to your audience? How do you relate it to real people with real emotions going on? And so I think we're going to see a downplay of professional services for a minute, and then we're going to see it ramping back up. It actually happened a few years ago. And if some people remember 2016 to 2018, kind of in that time frame where there was a lot of technology that suddenly kind of boomed. We went through a little tech boom. All the professional services kind of went underground for a second. And then people realized, nope, I actually like my person. So
thank you very much. Let's see if we can squeeze in one from Krystal. I've got it in the chat for you. Krystal says flexible work arrangements. AI-powered remote collaboration tools will impact HR professionals because they enable employees in different industries to work from anywhere, breaking down the geographical barriers, open up new opportunity for talent acquisition and retention. Krystal, 1 minute. That's all we got. Go.
Yeah. So I just to kind of amplify that is just the opportunity to like expand and think more creatively about how we are supporting and really being able to drive like efficient and productive workplaces and to be able to do it in more flexible spaces. I think by leveraging AI and other technologies to support the work that people need to do, we can think about it being done more creatively and kind of taking some of the boundaries that have been put on organizations in the past and thinking about it in new and exciting ways.
And you said exciting and growth mindset before, and I think that's an underlying theme here. We've covered a lot of ground today. Very interesting. There were a lot of overlaps in your predictions, but I think the takeaways are that AI is not bad if you choose as a human what you use, how you use it, when you use it, and where you use it, giving small firms an opportunity to use it to get rid of the administrative tasks that are taking up too much time, and to grow and to compete. And don't forget that people are still going to be people and AI is not. Did I cover it all, Lenore? I think that did pretty well. I want you all to join me. You're going to wag your finger, and on the count of 3, we're going to say no, 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 because we're almost done. People say the future is already here. And our answer is 1, 2, 3. Join me. No, no. Come on, you can do better than that. No, no, no. Jordan, you can put them in as second place on the shout outs for no, no, no. We keep track of these. That's because that was yesterday's future. That was the future. Before I said that sentence, it was in the future. Now it's in the past. And that's because today's future hasn't happened yet. And we're all going to do our best to make it a much, much better one. Bonnie D signing off. Lenore Horton, you picked a stellar panel for me today. Thank you for engaging Jessie Frye, Manny Cosme, Krystal Speed, and of course you, Lenore, always welcome back. Send me topics, all of you. I'd love to have you back. Don't go away. We're going to chat afterwards. Are we done, Jordan? It looks like we're 30 seconds ahead of time. What do you think? Everybody wave goodbye to LinkedIn. Wave goodbye.
All clear.
All clear. Thank you. Bye, social. Let's go.